All right, and here we are for another special episode of Rob Plays That Game Minecraft. I put up an episode last week where I was showing off this Minecraft server that was a total recreation of Walt Disney World. It was sort of insane, and I just sort of gave a tour of a little piece of it and talked about Disney World in general. And all in all, I got a lot of great feedback on it, and people want to see more, so I'm giving you more. And today we're going to look at Epcot Center, or I guess it's called Epcot now. I do want to go back eventually and do the Magic Kingdom again, a little more in-depth, but for the sake of something new, I'm going to do Epcot this week. So this is actually my favorite park. I'm going to break this rule here and enter through here. Epcot Center. So, I keep calling it Epcot Center. Epcot. What is Epcot? So like I mentioned in the first episode, when Walt Disney sort of planned Disney World, the centerpiece of the whole project was Epcot, which is going to be this futuristic city. It stood for the Experimental Prototype City of Tomorrow. And then later, I believe it was referred to as Community of Tomorrow. And the idea was it was going to be a futuristic city that people would actually live in, that would serve as sort of an example of the ideal American city, so that other cities around the country and then even around the world could sort of learn from it and take ideas and improve their cities. It was really a big undertaking, and unfortunately Walt died before he could even attempt it. And after he died, they decided to make the Magic Kingdom as part of Walt Disney World, and they did it, they named it Walt Disney World in his honor, and they kept promising that they would come back and they would do Epcot, but the plans for Epcot sort of changed, and it's really a long history. But in the end, Epcot ended up being another theme park, and is two parts, almost like two mini parks put together. Future World and World Showcase. And the idea is Future World was supposed to be very a spiritual encapsulation of what Walt wanted, which is a center that shows off the future and technology of the future and how people in cities can use it. And then World Showcase was made to promote sort of international diplomacy. Anyway, so what I'm doing right now, I'm actually in that giant sphere that you were looking at. It's called Spaceship Earth. It's a ride in itself, and we're going to ride it. Now, if you've ridden it, you might look at some of the stuff and recognize very blocky recreations of scenes, like cavemen painting on walls. The whole purpose of this ride is to sort of teach the history and the future of communications. You have Phoenicians trading, and Greeks in theater, and this is actually going way faster than the actual ride. But that was the idea. It teaches you the history of communication, starting from cavemen going all the way until the future. Does slow down eventually. This is the part where I think they've invented the printing press. I'm actually really impressed with my ability to sort of remember these scenes. Yep, industrialization, and those were the operators in the telephone center, and now we're in the computer era when computers took up entire building floors. But then it teaches you about, Steve Wozniak, Bill Gates, and Steve Jobs making personal computers, and then it reveals, ooh, this actually changed a bit. It's supposed to be a big area where you see the Earth. This ride's not nearly as exciting in a video game. I don't think any of them are. They're still really cool recreations. But I figured I'd run through a few of these just to give you an idea. I'll also have the server information in the description, so if you want to come in here and check it out yourself in more depth, you're totally welcome to do that. It does this thing where it pops you in a cactus and you get your cart back. And they use these repeaters really cleverly, because you could exit, but you can't enter. And like most rides at Walt Disney World, they have basically what they call the post-show area, and they'd usually have some sort of interactive feature. And then it brings you out into Future World. This is by far my favorite park. From what I understand, this is built to scale. I don't know if they changed it, but they were planning on building this park to scale. That's the Fountain of Nations. What they did was they took all water from all of the participating nations in the World Showcase part of the park, and they filled the fountain with it. And this is Innovations East, and they have Innovations West, and those are sort of like the best way, I guess, to describe it is like a trade show type atmosphere to show off new technologies and new features. And this is the Electric Umbrella, a food place. They've recreated the food eateries here, and it turns out they did turn on other stuff cooking there. That's amazing. Is that where you pay? They did turn on hunger last time I was here, and you had to actually go to these places to get food. This one's the Electric Umbrella. Oh, ceiling's a little low. I guess if they're doing it to scale. So we'll go explore this part of Future World. I believe this is Future World East. And it always confused me because you always enter in from the north. So I always naturally assume that it's west because, you know, left, west. But no. So over here, you've got the universe of energy. This is the idea is each pavilion, and this is a little different from sort of the Magic Kingdom, is each pavilion has a different theme, and each theme, you know, has some relation to the future. And this one was the universe. There's the energy pavilion, and there was the land and the body. So this is the energy one. They refurbed it in the 90s to star Ellen and Bill Nye. And there's this whole tie-in with Jeopardy. It's actually, I mean, like any ride at Disney, if you want, you could probably find a YouTube video of a ride through. It won't fully simulate it. This one's a little weird because it's a really slow ride. It's known for being a slow ride. How do I... Did I get rid of the button? I got rid of the cart. Oh, here we go. But Bill Nye and Ellen go back in time to the time of the dinosaurs, and Ellen learns about energy and why it's important, and teaches us why it's important. And I guess what I'm realizing now, Epcot's like a really nerdy park. You know, you can't have something about the future that doesn't involve teaching. And it's something that I really like about it. They do some cool tricks here with lighting. Off and on. And actually the ride is really slow. It's essentially 2 movies with that little ride through part of dinosaurs. You'd watch a whole film on super wide screen. And the cool thing is this pavilion is actually covered in the ceiling with solar panels, and the ride's partially powered by it. So it's, you know, practicing what it preaches. I hope this sped up a little bit. Okay. So as short as that was, the actual ride itself is around 40 minutes. This is Mission Space. From what I understand, it is not complete. This is actually the most disappointing ride in Disney, in my opinion. It used to be this really popular and really great ride called Horizons, which is all about the future and what the future might hold, and it showed these possible futures where you can live in space or underwater cities or in deserts that have been turned into farms. Um, Considering it was made in the 80s, it was really forward thinking because it had an interactive ending where you pick how you want to get back to the present and you witness that movie. Now, I don't know if this works because this is test track. They're actually refurbishing this right now in real life, so they might be doing it here too. What this is a ride all about the testing of automobiles. You get in a car and you sort of, is this to get on? Yeah. And you go through all of the trials that a car would go through being tested. So it's a little bumpy. And they have like fake rooms where they do heat tests and cold tests. And I haven't been on it in ages. It's actually not the best ride. But hopefully it'll be better once it reopens in December. On December, I think, 6th, 2012. That's the hot room. And this is the cold room. I don't know why there's a pumpkin there. And then the idea is, then it goes on the test track. Oh, this is the bumpy one. It's supposed to show all the bumps and make it sort of a bumpy ride. Or no, it's speed and turning. I don't know. I haven't been on this ride in years. But then it culminates with you going out on the track and you hit like 60, which was the fastest ride at Epcot at the time. But I don't know. I feel like 60 is something most people hit on the highway, so it wasn't that exciting for me. Don't speed, kids. What more can I tell you about Epcot? I mean, it wasn't essentially what Walt originally planned, but personally, I don't think what Walt planned was possible in today's world. You know, he had this idea that companies would use Epcot to showcase upcoming technologies and to sort of excite the public about the future. But would that really work today? Besides the fact that it feels like every month there's a new phone out there or a new computer or some new technology, it would be incredibly expensive to constantly be replacing all of this for an entire city's worth of citizens. On top of that, how many companies would be willing to actually share that sort of thing with the public? I mean, look at companies like Apple. You don't hear about any of their products until the day they want to announce them. I don't think many of these competitive tech companies would want to show off what they've got going until they're feeling confident about it. So in that way, I guess it makes sense that they never made Walt Epcot. The bummer is I feel like most of the rides in Epcot today are more about thrills and not about technology in the future. And so now it's not even a shadow of what Walt wanted. Now it's just like a lame future park because the thrills aren't even that great. And of course, another Disney staple is most rides have a gift shop at the end because they want your money. Oh, that's the monorail track. So the monorail actually goes into the park. I should mention there's a monorail system in Walt Disney World. Many of you might know this, but some of you might not. But there's this huge plot of land that Disney owns. It's twice the size of Manhattan. Has its own transportation system set up, and it's entirely free for people in there. It's buses, free boats, and a monorail system that connects a couple of hotels with the Magic Kingdom, and then you can transfer to another monorail and come here. And the monorail loops around on the inside so you see the park before you actually get off and enter. It's really cool. I hope, if nothing else, people who have never been to Disney or haven't seen anything of Disney see these videos and decide to look some stuff on YouTube up of the real places just to see what it's like. Because this was actually, for the longest time and to an extent, this place is a great example of amazing engineering and city planning. Even though it's not a city, it virtually operates like one. let's go see the seas. I haven't actually been here at all. This was closed when I first came here. So the seas is all about, obviously, the seas. Most recently, they sort of refurbed it to have a lot of stuff involving Finding Nemo, because now Disney owns Pixar, and that was a Disney produced movie anyway. So they're really trying to fit those Pixar IPs in there. So they have Nemo and Friends. So the idea is you actually get on a ride to get to the pavilion, which is really cool. Now, unfortunately, the ride itself, not as cool. What's it say here? Strong current, thanks a lot, dive shop, hours. They recreate as many signs as they can, even if they don't apply. The ride itself, nothing too exciting. You're just like in a clamshell and Nemo. It's good for kids. Nemo's there. It's apparently popular because the queue line is super long. And then you exit into the pavilion, and the pavilion has a lot of cool things. It's almost like a mini aquarium. Oh my gosh. I'm doing this because I don't get to do that in real life. Just hop over the line. Oh, unless this is supposed to emulate the ride. Nope, there it is. And so you go through, and you see fishes, real fishes, and then fake fishes, and then digital projections of fake fishes over real fishes, and so it looks like Nemo's actually in there. And you see these few scenes, and like 2 minutes later you hop out on the other end. Looks like there's a little leak. This has a really cool attraction called Turtle Talk with Crush. I don't care if I sound like a little kid talking about this. So Turtle Talk with Crush is when it's like a show. You sit down in a little theater, and it's a Q&A almost, like with Crush, the turtle from Finding Nemo, and he's on there and he's CG, but he completely interacts with kids, and I guess adults too. I don't know what technology they use to sort of do live animation on the fly. I guess they have like presets of him saying things, but of him moving, and then they have an actor on the other end who does the Crush voice. It's really funny. Disney has like this sort of quality where you can be really jaded and old, but once you get there, it's like you totally buy it. You buy into it and you enjoy it. You know, it's the sort of cheesy but idea that Disney had, that everyone's a kid at heart. And this is the place where it all comes out. Okay. I'd be surprised as to how they emulated it. But let's move on. And then you're out. This is actually a really big park. Comparatively to the Magic Kingdom, I think it's about 5 times. No, it isn't. That's the Animal Kingdom. It's 5 times the size of the Magic Kingdom. But this is a large park. Going around World Showcase, which, wow, we might not even... Well, we'll hopefully get to it in the next 10 minutes or so. It's a little over a mile. They used to run buses in this park at first because people just were not accustomed to walking so much everywhere, especially in like Florida heat. So this is all about the land. They have Living with the Land, which is a slow boat ride that talks about farming and technological advances in farming. It's got food here. There's a restaurant. This restaurant's really cool. I'll look through it real quick. It's called the Garden Grill, and it's actually, this whole thing is a rotating platform. So this spins while you're sitting and eating, but it spins super slow because, you know, you don't want to get sick while you're sitting and eating. I mean, you could sit here and have an hour-long meal, and then within that hour, it'll probably do like 1.5 rotations. So it's really slow, and it shows parts of the sets of Living with the Land, which is downstairs. And then the most popular ride here, the one that everyone runs to the second this whole theme park opens, is Soarin'. Soarin' is a hang gliding simulator. You sit in this thing and it takes you up, and you're in a, we'll go fast pass. Takes you up and you sort of experience hang gliding around California. And they go all out. Besides just the video and the sound, they have these little devices above your seat that that sort of creates a scent. So you'll be soaring over an orange grove and you'll actually smell oranges. It's really cool. I don't know why it's so insanely popular. I feel like it's one of those things where it just sort of builds up on itself. It's popular and it gets popular because it's popular. Just on and on and on. Excuse me. So here's Soarin'. So it's actually a thing you sit on and you're in front of an IMAX, but what I think is cool is that people in the server recreated what the movie's like. So you're actually moving, since I guess you can't do a movie screen in Minecraft. So here it's got the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, and you've got it's the river, sort of like the Pacific Southwest. You got fields there. Oh, the hot air balloons, right? They're hot air balloons. This is like I just can't. I mean, I know they use tools, but they built all this by hand. Like, yeah, maybe they used World Edit to hollow out the room, but they put all the detail of the mountains in, and they did this for like virtually every ride in Disney World. I wish it would load better. Oh, the golfer? That's funny. Fun fact, if you've been on this ride, there's a scene where you swoop down and a golfer hits the golf ball and it goes swooshing past your face. That golfer is actually Michael Eisner, who at the time of the ride's creation was the CEO of Disney. Now we're in the Grand Canyon. Oh, and there's the jet airplane, right. And I don't remember what this is. Oh, the city? Or was it Disney World? There comes at one point where you're swooping in on Disney World. Maybe we haven't seen that yet. I don't know. I don't know what any of those signs were. Now we're in an endless hallway. Oh, this is Disney World, I assume. And this is longer than I thought. And there we are. And I guess this is the exit. So that's a really clever way they go about doing this. And so this is the land. It's all about the land. So the last, but certainly not least, pavilion we're going to visit is the Imagination Pavilion. And as the name might imply, it was a pavilion devoted to imagination. Which sort of, I mean, I don't know how you tie that into the future so much. I have an idea where, if you could get a corporate sponsor like Google to sponsor it and show how technology allows you to sort of, I mean, if there's one piece of technology that sort of allows you to make your imagination a reality, it's this game right here. Like, somebody had the idea of, let's make a block recreation of Disney World, including all the rides, and here it is. It's made. They used to have a 3D movie called Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. They took that out and they replaced it with Captain EO, which is a movie from the 80s with Michael Jackson. In my opinion, is kind of a cash grab because they didn't bring it back until after he died. I haven't been in this pavilion in ages either. I've been here recently. Okay, there's a lot of redstone elements. I won't be able to really describe what's happening because I haven't been on this ride since I was a little kid. But the idea is Figment's this little dragon. And stuff with imagination. I don't really remember. This is all new to me, actually. And we're just sitting here. while we're going through, let me tell you a little bit about World Showcase. So the idea of World Showcase was they wanted to show people different cultures. Oh, they doing the music? They wanted to show people different cultures, and they wanted these different cultures to sort of get along. I mean, that's a really simplistic way of putting it. I'm having a hard time articulating it. They do some cool things, like they have interns from out of the country who will do their, like when you intern at Disney, you usually are taking some sort of class related to your field of study there, and then you're also working at the park. So you're getting work experience, and then you're also learning. And so the work experience part of it, if you're from another country, is usually in the country in World Showcase. So like an intern from Germany would work at the Germany pavilion and so on. And it adds authenticity to the pavilions, and it also allows them to teach visitors about their country and sort of represent that country. And there are, I want to say 11 countries. You've got Mexico, Canada, Japan, China, the US, Germany, Italy, Morocco, France, the UK, and Norway. Ha! Got them all. 11. Whoa, whoa, colors! And so usually, following the Disney tradition of getting companies to sponsor these pavilions and sort of foot the bill for, advertising, they originally wanted to get countries themselves to do it, but a lot of governments ended up having rules regarding... rules regarding funding for something for such a long time. So it's usually companies from that country. So, for instance, this isn't the case. I don't think it is, but you'd get Volkswagen to sponsor Germany and so forth. And we're going to do a quick run around. Now, these... I gotta figure out how to get there. These pavilions often have no rides. The only two countries with rides are Norway, which is like a slow boat ride, and Mexico, which is a slow boat ride. And what these really focus on, and I feel like as a kid I didn't appreciate it because I thought whatever, it was all the same and it didn't interest me. There were no rides, but they all have like really awesome restaurants and drinks. For you older viewers out there, there's a tradition called Drinking Around the World where you go to each pavilion and you have a drink from each. And that's a bunch of fun. I haven't actually done it myself yet. I haven't been able to. Maybe one day. But restaurants even. I mean, I just went recently this year with a bunch of my friends, and the amount of food we ate in Epcot alone was disturbing. This is Canada. They have a show called Oh Canada. I'm just going to run through these real quick, not explore them in depth, because, like I said, there are no rides to go on. Next up, we've got the UK. I believe this is the UK. I am fairly certain this is UK. This is the UK, because this is the food place that I ate at in May. And I had British food, and there would always be a band that looked like the Beatles that would do all the British pop songs of the 60s. That's the UK. I'm going through these real quick, sorry. And then at the end of every night, there's a fireworks show. This is also, I should mention, this all goes around a big lagoon. And there wasn't originally a lagoon planned, but when they started digging, they found that there was just a huge sinkhole that would just take so much work to fill in. So instead, they just sort of improvised, and Did it around a lagoon, and there's a great firework display. If you're planning on going to Disney, don't watch it because go and see it at Disney because it's great in person. If you don't have any future plans of going, look it up. It's called Illuminations, and it's an amazing fireworks show. This is France. If you couldn't pick up that there's the little mini Eiffel Tower. That's the little subway stop. Sounds like the weather's not too good. Somebody died. Alright. Someone's having fun with lightning. Here is Morocco. They have a really cheesy band called Mo Rockin'. Like Mo Rockin'. I haven't eaten here. Actually, I believe the place here is princess themed. They have things called meet and greet, character dining, which is usually means while you're eating, there are characters going around and meeting the kids and doing photos and autographs. And I think the one there is all the princesses. Next up, Japan. Japan has a really cool store full of like really weird Japanese stuff. I'm not a big fan of anime and those parts of the culture. However, there is a whole section of the store devoted to Japanese candy and soda, which is really cool. Then in the center, I know it is very cliche and how expected of us, is the American Adventure. It's the American Pavilion. They have the little show called the American Adventure, and they've got this little stage where bands will play and do stuff. And the food here is it's American. It's Budweiser and soda and burgers and fries, and it's probably the least enticing place to eat when you're in Epcot for the reason that you could get that stuff anywhere. And that's the halfway point of World Showcase. There is no underground system of tunnels in this park, too big. In fact, what it is more like there's a system of roads around the edges of the park that people use to travel. Here, we're in Italy. Italy has the Italian restaurant, obviously, and wine, and they've got these little gondolas. This is one of my favorite countries here. I actually spent New Year's for 2000 here. It's really fun. In between, they'll usually have little carts in between the countries. They have, it causes lag. They have a little miniature train set in the real park here, and I believe that's part of Germany, which is this country. They've got the flags. Clever. Germany has an amazing buffet. Actually, let me take you in there real quick, because this is something that they've done in a few places that I think is really cool. Is it's all indoors, but it is designed to look like it's outdoors. So the beer garden. So as you can see, like, they make stars and there are all the facades of buildings, so it looks like you're out in this town square of like this German town. And there are no food. What did I just do there? Oh, flip to red if empty. That's real clever. Okay, those are cards. I like that system. Alright. So I just want to show you like the sort of indoor-outdoor thing. They have like a glass shop. They always have like something sort of related to the country. I don't actually know if glass blowing is something native to Germany. But they do have a glass shop. You get steins, beer steins and stuff. China. This is the China Pavilion. They have a Chinese restaurant, and they have a fast food Chinese restaurant. It's not very authentic Chinese food, but I imagine that might be a harder sell for American tourists. One of the unfortunately more boring pavilions. I don't think they really have. I think they might have another show, but that's about it. Here's Norway. Norway, haven't tried the food here, but I can tell you that this is one of the ones with a ride. I won't go through it because it's, um, or maybe I will. Why not? It's called the, well, what do you know? I don't remember what it's called. It's called the, oh, the Maelstrom, right? And it's supposed to be like a, I don't know, like a look at Norway and their past, and there are trolls in it. I don't know, I don't know how accurate that is to the real Norway, but there are trolls in the ride. Let's hop on. It's another one of those. It's a boat ride, but in here they put it on tracks just to make it easier to ride, which is really clever. There's a fake waterfall, so I guess the trolls are here. I would like to see them put rides in some of these countries, but that was the fake waterfall, I think. Polar bears, because you know it's cold in Norway, so I hear. It would be hard to put rides into these pavilions because you got to get a company to sponsor it, and in the 80s, it was a really great idea. You sponsored a ride and you realized that millions of people come to Disney World every year. Oh, there's the fake waterfall. And then splash down, and then there's like an oil rig. You can't see it here, but there's an oil rig in that part. And then the ride's over, and you get let off in this little, another one of those areas where it's made to look like outdoors of a village, but it's indoors. Going back to my original point, in the 80s, this was great advertisement. You had millions of eyes looking on it, in a world where, you know, television was the example of the broadest sort of spectrum of trying to reach out to people, and that was expensive. Now you have the internet, you know, and you could reach a lot more eyes on the internet, so this sort of corporate sponsorship model of rides and pavilions in Disney World isn't as relevant today. Now, luckily, since the 80s, Disney has become like a massive company that can probably fund all this on their own, so I guess they don't have to worry about it as much anymore. You gotta remember, in the mid-80s, Disney was at threat for being taken over, like a corporate takeover. Disney really wasn't this powerhouse. We've grown up, you know, people my age and younger have grown up to think Disney is this big company and it's sort of too big to fail, as they put it. But like in the 80s, it was very possible that it could fail. Disney, I mean, Roy Disney had to work tirelessly to break even on Disney World, and that's with other companies footing the bill for most of the rides. So when Eisner took over, a lot of people give Eisner crap because he corporatized Disney, and you know, you see all the gift shops and the prices went up, but at the same time he also saved Disney from sort of falling apart. This is the boat ride in Mexico. I didn't mention it. We're in Mexico now, and this is another one of the areas where it's all indoors, but it's made to look outdoors. They've got a night sky set up, and that's supposed to be like a little Mexican, you know, festival. And there's a restaurant where people would be sitting and eating, and you get on this boat ride. And it's got the Three Caballeros, which was a Disney animated film with Donald Duck that Walt Disney made in the 60s. When he went on his South American tour. It's not this slow. This place also features a tequila bar with like 100 different types of tequila. Again, for the older viewers. Alright, I'm ready for this to go. Go! Come on. Alright. I don't know if it's broken. Maybe I broke it. I'm going to give it a little push. Maybe it needs another redstone bit. Alright. There we go. So you got Donald Duck, and they're singing the Three Caballeros, and there's the villages, Mexican villages, and I think it's like Donald's lost, and the other ones are looking for him. And then there's this little part with fireworks coming up right there. See, there's a little fake firework. It's a nice little ride, I guess. Not very educational. Probably not very representative of the real Mexico. But there's never a line, so it's always fun. And that is more or less Epcot in a nutshell, and the Minecraft version of Epcot. I'm still insanely impressed that they put this together. Next week, I will be doing a video on Disney Hollywood Studios. Now, it is the third of four theme parks in Walt Disney World. However, it is the last theme park that is currently created in this server, so I wouldn't have anything to run around for the Animal Kingdom. So I'll do a little bit on Disney Hollywood Studios, formerly MGM Studios. And then maybe I'll swing back around and sort of do a more comprehensive look at the Magic Kingdom. And then finally, I will do a little part showing off sort of all the extra parts of the server that weren't in those videos. They've actually started to recreate other hotels besides the one that you've seen already. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned a little something. I hope if you're... oh, look at that redstone working down there. It's a lot of work. I hope if you've been to Disney or, you know, enjoy Disney, that this was a nice nostalgic trip back to you. If you've never heard of Disney or never... Well, you must have heard of Disney. If you've never been to Disney, though, I hope this sort of gives you an insight as to what the sort of experience is, and maybe you'll look into it a little more, and, I don't know, if you're old enough, think about going, and if you're young enough, think about bugging your parents to go. It was just Epcot's 30th anniversary. Have a great week, and I'll see you all next time.